Palandöken Part 3, a guide to what is probably the world's cheapest ski resort. Freeriding here. There's a lot of scope for going off-piste here, and for whatever reason the locals don't seem that keen on it. So most of the off-piste here just stays on track for a good long while actually. So there's lots of opportunities. The big problem is that if they don't open the top chairlift, just the way that this mountain is laid out, so behind me you've got that middle point, middle peak, and it kind of cascades down to the left and to the right. On the left hand side it becomes a valley, so you can't get to that other side unless the top chairlift's open, and on the right hand side it becomes completely flat. So if you don't open the top chair, really you're kind of limited to what you can find in between the established pieces. And again, I mean, I don't know the reason for this, but very often they didn't open that top chair. And I mean, yes, wind plays a part in that. I know it's played a part in that a few days, but there were plenty of days they could have opened it and they didn't. The best time to come, and this is updated, and it's updated because if you look around now and compare it to the video a couple of minutes ago, you'll see it's unrecognisable. So I think December and January definitely too early. February, come here if you want to avoid the typical midterm rushes, because it doesn't happen here. So if you want to get a lot of riding in, okay, you'll be riding the same runs, I've said this, but if you want to get a lot of riding in, this is a good place to be. It's nothing like, you know, the France and Austria, Swiss, Italian midterm melee, if you want to call it that. And of course I've said this many times too, but for me anyway, March and April are easily the best time to go skiing or snowboarding. You get longer days, you get sporadic snow. This is the best snow we've had, but I mean, no matter where you go, you always get powder days in March. And then you also get that wicked transforming snow where it turns into corn as well. So sunny days, longer days, quieter as well, not that it's never busy here anyway, but quieter in pretty much all resorts too. So what's not to like about March and April? Of course it'll get busy over Easter. Don't think they'll do Easter here, that's a religious thing. Don't think that'll happen here either. I don't know what they do here, I don't understand. But yeah, I would say March and April. What was the typical weather like? Well, I can only go on this season alone. I don't know if it's standard or not, but I mean, it seemed to be, because it happened a hell of a lot. There is a major problem with wind here. And it closed a lot of the lifts and it stripped a lot of the snow a lot of the time as well. And I don't think that can just be limited to this season. I think that is an endemic problem here. I don't think I've ever been to a resort that suffers so much from wind. And remember, I'm from Scotland, so that's saying something. We are the home of wind. But the problem is that any fresh snow you get is getting blown off every single time. So while we've had fresh snow, in all honesty, it lasts about 2-3 days and then it gets blown away again. See that wind? But there's a prevailing wind. So yeah, whatever's east of here. Did I mention wind? But I do keep coming back. It reminds me a lot of Scotland. I think the primary difference being that it's a lot higher and the runs are a lot longer and the lifts are a lot better, and you've also got obviously the hotels down at the bottom, which is something that Scotland pretty much lacks. It's like Scotland on a bigger scale, but it suffers from horrendous weather. I said before about this place being a bit like Cairngorm. And it is definitely. You've got one major point up there where everything kind of almost congregates, all the lifts and everything congregate in this one point. Then you've got the left hand side on here, the right hand side on here. So it's very much like, you can think of that as Konakli, you can think of that as Konakli. Just thought of another similarity between here and Scotland. Of course, these comparisons only work if you know Scotland, but that chairlift there, so it's really short, but high speed, detachable, 4-man chair, and it's actually quite reminiscent of the cliffhanger, the Cliffy at Glencoe. Up at the top you've got a whole load of options, so you can go far left and that takes you down a long blue run, or you can take the one that's directly in front there and that's like a red run. That area up there underneath the chairlift, yes it's small, but it is absolutely littered with good stuff. I can't remember, I think it was Brian Agucci said years ago about some ski resort, called it Disneyland. Well, that is our Disneyland here. And run opening here, it's bizarre here, honestly. And I don't know if this is, I get it that this season we had a lot of wind. So I understand, you know, like lifts are going to close when it's windy, okay. But there were plenty of days that they could have quite easily opened, especially the top lifts, and they just didn't. And I don't know if that's maybe down to finances or what. That top chairlift up there has only been running about 4 or 5 days. And the majority of the time there's this chairlift, there's that gondola, there's that chairlift up there, and sometimes you get the second gondola. But I mean the chairlifts above that, no, you know, and especially the top chairlift has barely been open the whole season. And it's the same with the piste here actually. I don't think there's been a single day here this season that every run's been open. Big problem is the main sites like snowforecast.com and j2ski.com. They don't have any real reporting here apart from the weather, and even that's not very accurate to be honest. If you look on the if you look on the Ejder 3200 website, I mean that's a work of fiction. Through the entire season, the Ejder 3200 website has, as far as I am aware, never once said that the snow depth was less than 1.20 metre here. Not once. Yet the run up there that I filmed last week, the snow was brown. I mean, I'm sure it is 1.20 metre somewhere up there. It's not that weird, you can see that. I keep walking for miles, the city people, they don't understand. No girlfriends, they can't understand. Your grandsons, they won't understand. On top of this, I ain't ever gonna understand. Making comparisons between here and Europe. This all depends on where you're used to going, really, it does. Now, okay, you compare this to the likes of an Avoriaz and Porto Soleil, no. There's no point, you know, it's not on the same scale. But you've got to remember, I mean, okay, so the snow doesn't look as it's now, you know, and we haven't had a great season, I would be the first to confess that. But the base station here is about 2100 metres, ours is about 1900 to 2000 metres, and the top, not that you can see it today, but the top is 3200 metres. So, you know, you're talking, there's no glacier here, but they were open until May last year. So does it compare to Europe? Size-wise, no. Height-wise, yes. Price-wise, it completely blows it away. I don't even know the price of a week's pass here, but my season pass was 100 euros basically. I think a day pass in most resorts these days is about 50, 60 euros. You know, so I mean, in terms of price, absolutely, it blows it away. And that's just, I'm just talking about the ski area here. You got to remember, ski holidays are, you know, the lift pass is just one small part of a massive, massive story. A never-ending bill. The thing is, we haven't had good snow this year, you know, and that's the big. I don't want to go recommending things that aren't good. In every other respect, it's a decent place if you can get by, if you can get past the fact that it's smaller. Against that as well, one other consideration, you've got night skiing here, and there's not many places do that. It's all about managing expectations, I think that's the key here. Do not think you're coming to Europe or one of the massive mega European resorts. You're not, it's quite simple, and it can't compare with the night. having been here now for 5 months, it's not a place to do a season. Definitely, it's not a place to do a season. Aside from the fact that it's too small, there's a whole load of other components missing. I kind of figured it because it had the night skiing, and I saw a huge potential for off-piste as well. I kind of figured that would make up for it, but it doesn't. The other thing I've learned here is the importance of a season air bar. I've never really noticed this before, but that season air pub where all the locals go and you meet after a day in the hill and stuff. That's where you get your crew together, that's where you get your mates together that see you through the season. And there's absolutely nothing like that here. Not in Erzurum and not up the hill. That's something I've really missed as well, to be honest. But I've got no regrets for coming here, and I've got no regrets for experiencing something completely different. It's really, I mean, it's a bit, you're kind of out of your comfort zone, a wee bit of a culture shock. And it's been quite a good experience, all told, you know. I say that because of conference. You know, if you'd asked me that about 2 weeks ago, you would have probably got a very different answer. Ah, the different snowmates, man, there's such a difference. So I'm going to be leaving here in a couple of days, and I've got to admit, it's the first season that I've had mixed feelings about leaving. Normally you're really sad when it comes to the end of the season. And this year, it's not like that. I'm kind of quite happy to be getting away, to be honest. I mean, I'm already packed, and that never happens. I'm not leaving for another 2 days. But I think that's probably a statement on kind of how this season's been, and kind of the problems that I've had with it. Definitely don't do a season here. It's not a good place for a season. Some useful words to know in Turkish, by the way. Lütfen is please, teşekkür is thank you, taxi is just taxi, spelled with a KS. Ekzan or Ekzane, I don't know how you say it, but that means the pharmacy, which I have visited quite a lot this winter. But yeah, that means pharmacy. Ekzan. Tuvalet is toilet. Bira. Bira. Bira is beer. Menu, I don't know if it's the same word or not, but everyone understands you. I think that's about it. Obviously, it's about all mirhaba is hello, as is salam, I think. That's about all I know. That's probably 4 months, but almost 5 months here. Oh, and üzgünüm is sorry, which I use quite a lot as well. On the subject of Turkish words, this is kind of important, by the way. In Turkish, that does not mean okay. That means an entirely different thing. That means homosexual. So don't do that signal. When I say this place is good value, I should probably give you some examples of prices. Now I've got these all down here. I'm never going to remember all this. While these prices are maybe, I don't think they're that likely to change actually. But of course the exchange rate might change depending on what Erdogan does with his fiscal policies, which are all over the shop at the moment. A day pass is 140 Turkish lira. At current exchange rates, that's about €7. A weekday pass, sorry, that was a weekend day pass. A weekday pass is 130, which is about 650. A season pass was 1500 Turkish lira, which when I bought it was actually equating to about €100. At that price, what would that be, about 75? About €75 for a season pass, mental. One other thing I should mention, by the way, if you're a total beginner, you don't need to buy an entire week's lift pass. You can buy it by click, basically. So you're not paying for a whole week's lift pass. Which again, I mean, the lift pass isn't expensive, but I mean, again, it'll save you a bit of money there as well. It's crazy how much they try to save you money here. A medium pizza, delivery pizza, about 40 Turkish lira. It's about £2, €2. BK double menu, the double Whopper menu, is about 75, so that's 75 Turkish lira, which is about €4. Standard meal in that hotel across there, that's the only place I've eaten apart from takeaways, or deliveries rather. And standard meal is anywhere between about 40 and 100 Turkish lira. So again, you're looking about €2 to €5. There's a mental mixed grill in there, by the way. I've never been able to finish it. It's about 115, I think. So it's about just short of €6. Bomonti, on the hill beer. Bomonti, definitely the best beer. Forget FS. Bomonti's much nicer. And it was 60 Turkish lira, which is about €3 for an on the hill beer. You know, I mean, it's cheap. Taxi down to Erzurum is about 60 Turkish lira, so you're looking about €3. I would guess, based on that, from here to the airport would probably cost, I don't know, maybe 150 to 200 Turkish lira. So anywhere between about 750 and €10. Hotel prices. The hotel price, as with most places, the hotel prices vary throughout the season depending on how busy it is, obviously. But I know the Derriman, you're looking anywhere between about €30 and about €60 a night, somewhere about there. I can't really speak for the other hotels, unfortunately. I do know that the ones that have the ski runs are more expensive. I know that. So I figured I might as well do this, because it's all well and good for me to talk about the price difference between Turkey, but if you don't actually see it and compare it like for like, then you're probably not going to get an idea of exactly just how cheap it is. So this is a like for like between Palandöken and La Plana. It's nothing against La Plana. I did 5 seasons there. Really like the place, got a lot of good friends there, so it's nothing against La Plana. But because I did 5 seasons there, it's a resort I know really well. Okay, so I mean, when it comes to a ski snowboard holiday, I mean, you've got certain fixed costs. So you're going to have your flights, transfers, accommodation, food, and I guess going out, beers, that kind of thing. On top of that, you're also going to have hire and instruction if you take it, and of course you got the lift pass as well. So comparing these, it will give you an idea of the savings that you can make by going to Palandöken. Now, obviously there's the proviso, it's way smaller than La Plana. La Plana's like the 3rd biggest ski resort in the world, so I mean there's no comparison there. But hopefully you watched all the other stuff and then you'll be able to see kind of the pluses and minuses of Palandöken. And seriously, the money aspect is one major plus. This is the now forgive me, I'm going to get this wrong, but Kiremitliktepe and ski jump hill, just outside Erzurum. So I mean, this is pretty impressive. I've never seen a ski jump with a chairlift. So you got five different hills. The furthest one, which is the biggest one, is a K125, which is the large hill, and then you've got a K90 just next to it, which is the standard hill. Each of which probably don't look that bad in this, but are pretty terrifying. These things are so impressive when you consider folk go flinging themselves off that, you know. So we're at about 2,000 metres here, which is why they've still got snow and stuff. But even without the snow, they can do year-round competitions. I don't know how the hell anyone jumps onto a dry mat, I really don't. But it is a world-class ski jump. Believe it or not, this thing actually, it was built in 2010, I think. And in 2014 there was a massive landslide because in all their wisdom they never put any foundations underneath the seating and underneath the slope itself. Look at that, man, seriously. Now, if it wasn't for the fact that I'm leaving here soon, there's apparently a restaurant up at the top of that, and the round towers up at the top. But yeah, that's the view down the large thing. So if you're a ski jumper, that's another added benefit. Yeah, if you're into your ski jumping, then Palandöken's for you. You can ride the hill during the day and then maybe come and do a wee bit of jumping at night if that's your thing. This is all a bit nuts. This is Konakli, which is also part of Palandöken. And this is the first time I've been up here, mainly because through the season it was barely open. And even when it did open, they only opened 2 chairlifts. And I've been kind of waiting on it to open the full area. But when you look at it, you've got that chair going up there, you've got one here, you've got one across there as well. If anything, this looks, well, this car park isn't more developed, but if anything, the lift system looks better. It's predominantly, they say, I don't know, the ratings here are all a bit haphazard. They say it's, when you look at the piste map, it's predominantly black. But these runs don't look that steep. It's that one over there that I like the look of. And that's a super long run. And if you were to link that with the one that goes down there, then you've got a really long run. We've got 22 kilometres a piece here apparently. Now there's only 4 lifts at the moment. I thought that there was a potential to link this to Palandöken, but when you're driving it, it took us about 20 minutes from Erzurum. I was going to say that I doubt there would be a bus, but we were behind the bus all the way up here. But the cost of the taxi is about, well, today it's going to cost about 140 Turkish lira. You're looking at anywhere between 140 and 180 Turkish lira, which on the current exchange rate is between about £7 and £9. So, I mean, if there's more than one of you, then, I mean, it's nothing really, is it? Definitely worth a trip over here. And the base where we are just now, this is 2,200. It's a little bit ramshackle, a little bit rough around the edges, you know. There's a load of stuff over here. Well, that's it. I'm going to have to come back to Palandöken because this looks mental. This looks really, really good here. There's huge scope for off-piste across there. Anyway, so that is Konakli. Yeah, the reason for putting this together, before I was going to do a season, I had a whole load of questions about Palandöken, and I looked online and I couldn't find answers anywhere. So while it was maybe a little bit different for me, because obviously I was doing a season, I'm fully aware, like, I mean, if you're talking about the idea of trading somewhere you know, like say for example you go to France or Italy or whatever, taking a punt on Turkey might seem like a big risk, especially if you can't find anything out about the place. So hopefully these videos will kind of give you a bit of an idea. I mean, I was there for 5 months at the end of the day, and I didn't just stay up the hill either. I was in Erzurum, so I've probably got a relatively good impression of the place. I'm maybe a little early to put this together, you know, because I mean, okay, I've been here almost 3 months, but I haven't done a season here. I haven't done multiple seasons here. But I wouldn't take a place down for lack of snow. You know, that can happen anywhere, and it has happened across Europe this year as well. You know, so you can't really take it down for lack of snow. It has its shortcomings, without a doubt, it has its limitations. On balance, I think, given the price of some of the places in Europe, given the fact that snow isn't guaranteed anywhere, given the fact that this place is trying very hard, you can definitely see that, and it has good facilities, and it has good lifts, and there are 0 queues, and you're getting it for a fraction of the cost, and there's 0 transfer, and the people are super friendly, and the beer is super cheap, and the food is cheap, and the cost overall is cheap. So it depends what you want from your holiday, I guess. It really depends what you want. But I certainly wouldn't take this place down, not at all. Actually, I just realised what I said there is true. I would take it down for its nightlife. I would definitely take it down for that. There's nothing doing here. There's really not, and it's quite depressing. I mean, I'm not saying for 1 second that a ski holiday is just about beer and stuff like that. Of course it's not, you know what I mean? But there is no party atmosphere. Occasionally across at the Devon and across there's a bit of a party goes on, but really, it's dire. I mean, it really is. And I get it, it's a country that doesn't believe in alcohol, but that doesn't mean that, like I say, if you want to be the world ski centre, if you want to attract foreign visitors, I mean, I've always said it, it's strange that there's an archway. As soon as you cross that archway, you could be anywhere. Or the archway on the road that I'm talking about. You could be anywhere, honestly. You could be any ski resort in the world. So that's a list of, I guess, what I figured would be the most common questions from this place. But if you've got any more, please put them down the bottom, because I can't predict what you guys are wanting to know, you know. So, as I say, I think it's quite and quite likely I'm probably not going to get up again this season the way things are going. So yeah, that's my thoughts based on the last 3 months of being here. And I think 3 months is probably long enough to get at least an idea of the place. Okay, multiple seasons spent here, maybe I would change my mind, but in all honesty, I do not think that this is a place to do a season. But I do think if you're just looking for, you know, a good value holiday in a completely different place, with, you know, high altitude riding. Okay, there's not a glacier, but it is high enough to guarantee good service. And yeah, I think you could. There's that wind again. I think you could do a lot worse. I really do. I think you could do a lot worse. So, as ever, thank you very much for watching. I don't know if this has been of any use to anyone, but hopefully yes. And yeah, we will maybe see you again from here before the end of the season, and if not, from someplace else. Thank you, Palandöken, but it won't be here. It won't be here next winter. I know that. It definitely won't be here. Cheers. I'm done here. My time here is finished. Bye bye, Ejder.